The massive doors of the Galactic Council Chamber opened with a sound like thunder. Ambassador Su-Jin Park walked through them with steady steps, her black uniform crisp and clean. Behind her followed 3 other humans, each carrying data tablets, and wearing the same calm expressions that had frustrated alien diplomats for 200 years. The chamber was enormous, built to hold representatives from 1,000 different worlds. Crystalline walls stretched up into darkness, and floating platforms carried delegates from species that breathed different gases or needed special gravity. The air hummed with translation devices. Working in hundreds of languages at once, at the center of the chamber sat the Trinity Alliance. 3 species that had ruled the galaxy for so long that most others had forgotten what freedom looked like. The hegemony's overlord Kethmer towered above everyone else, his forearms ending in claws that could tear through steel. His translator, Box, made his words sound like grinding metal. "Human ambassador," Kethmer said, not bothering to use her name. "You have kept us waiting." Su-Jin bowed slightly, the perfect amount to show respect without showing weakness. "My apologies, Overlord. We came as quickly as our ships could manage." A sound like breaking glass came from the 2nd member of the Trinity, Commander Vex High. Of the Dominion had a body made of living crystal, and when she spoke, light danced through her form. "Your ships are slow because your technology is primitive. This is why you will accept our terms." The 3rd member said nothing. Prime Architect Zulfan of the Collective was more machine than flesh, with cables and wires where others had veins. His red optical sensors focused on Su-Jin like targeting systems. Overlord, Kethmer activated a holographic display that filled the chamber. It showed Earth, blue and green and beautiful, surrounded by tiny human colonies on nearby worlds. Then it showed the vast territories of the Trinity Alliance, stretching across thousands of star systems. "Look at this," Kethmer said. "You humans occupy 43 worlds. We control over 30,000. You have been in space for barely 2 centuries. We have ruled for 10,000 years. Do you understand how small you are?" Su-Jin nodded. "We understand our position in the galaxy." "Good. Then you will accept our final offer without argument." The hologram changed to show resource charts and trade agreements. Earth will provide 80% of its mineral wealth to the Alliance. Your colonies will be administered by our governors. Your military will be disbanded. Your people will accept Class 7 citizenship status. Class 7. Su-Jin had memorized the galactic citizenship codes long ago. Class 7 meant humans would have fewer rights than livestock. On most worlds, they could be bought, sold, or disposed of as their betters saw fit. Behind Su-Jin, Dr. Mi-Young Choi made a small noise. She was supposedly Earth's chief scientist, but Su-Jin knew better. Mi-Young had been scanning every ship, every weapon, every piece of technology in this system since they arrived. Her research tablet was actually one of humanity's most advanced. Analysis computers. These terms seem extensive, Su-Jin said carefully. Perhaps we could discuss some modifications. Commander Vex High's crystal body flared with angry light. There will be no modifications. You will accept or face annihilation. Our combined fleets already surround your pathetic colonies. Captain Dong Hyen Lee, standing quietly behind Su-Jin, touched his communication device. To anyone watching, it looked like he was taking notes. Actually, he was sending very specific signals to a ship in orbit that was much more than the simple research vessel it appeared to be. Admiral Hyon Woo Kim, the last member of their delegation, stepped forward. He was older than the others, with gray hair and gentle eyes that made him look like someone's grandfather. Most aliens dismissed him as harmless. They had no idea he had designed every human weapon system developed in the last 50 years. Honored representatives, Admiral Kim said in his soft voice, "Surely there is room for negotiation? Humanity has always been willing to compromise." Compromise? Overlord Kethmer's claws clicked against his chair. "You speak as if you have something to bargain with. Your entire species could be erased in a single day. What could you possibly offer that would interest us?" Su Jin exchanged glances with her team. This was the moment they had planned for. The moment when humanity would either bend the knee forever or ... double quotes, "We offer our cooperation," she said, "and our gratitude for the education you have provided." The aliens looked confused. Education? Dr. Mi Young's scanner beeped softly. She had finished mapping every defensive system, every ship design, every weakness in the Alliance fleet. 200 years of patient observation, of playing the grateful. Junior species had given humanity something far more valuable than weapons. Knowledge. "We would like to request a brief recess," Sujin said. 72 hours to consider your generous offer and prepare our response." Kethmer laughed, a sound like breaking bones. 72 hours to delay the inevitable? Very well. We are not without mercy. But know this, human. When those hours expire, you will accept our terms or watch your worlds burn. The session ended, and the human delegation was escorted to quarters on Nexus Prime. The moment they were alone, their masks slipped away. "Did you get it all?" Admiral Kim asked Dr. Mi Young. "Everything," she said, her fingers flying over her real equipment. Ship specifications, weapon frequencies, communication codes, even the personal files of their commanders. Their security is designed to keep out primitive species, not ones that have been pretending to be primitive for 2 centuries. Captain Lee was already in contact with his ship. The new Soul is transmitting everything back to Earth. The Council will have complete tactical analysis within 12 hours. "And the other preparations?" Sujin asked. "Complete," Admiral Kim said quietly. "Every mining colony, every research station, every civilian outpost is ready. The ghost fleets are in position. Our friends in the alien governments have confirmed the Alliance fleet positions." Sujin nodded and walked to the window. Outside, she could see the lights of the orbital defense platforms that protected Nexus Prime. Tomorrow, those same platforms would be nothing but scrap metal drifting in space. But their operators didn't know that yet. For 200 years, humanity had played a role. They had been the eager students, the grateful junior partners, the species that always said please and thank you and accepted whatever scraps the galaxy threw them. They had been patient. They had been diplomatic. They had been civil. And every moment of those 200 years, they had been watching, learning, planning. "Send the message." Sujin told her team. Captain Lee activated his quantum communicator. The real one hidden inside what looked like a simple data pad. Across the galaxy, on Earth and 100 hidden bases, humanity received a single word. Storm. The next morning, Sujin stood before the Galactic Council one final time. The alien representatives filled their platforms, confident and arrogant. The Trinity Alliance leaders sat in their positions of power, certain that another species was about to grovel before them. "Honored delegates," Sujin began, her voice calm and clear. "Humanity thanks the galaxy for 200 years of educational experiences. We have learned much about civilization, about power, and about the nature of strength." She paused, and her gentle smile never wavered. "We withdraw our petition for equal representation. We withdraw our requests for fair treatment. We withdraw from the diplomatic process entirely." Her voice remained soft, but somehow it filled the vast chamber. "Consider this our final diplomatic communication." Overlord Kethmer leaned forward. "Then you accept our terms?" "No," Sujin said simply. "We reject them. All of them." The silence that followed was complete. Then Kethmer began to laugh. Reject them? You suicidal fools. Do you have any idea what you have just done? Sujin's smile grew wider. Yes, she said, we do. And in the depths of space, hidden fleets that had waited centuries for this moment began to move. General He Wan-Yoon stood in the command center, buried 3 miles beneath the surface of Earth. Around her, hundreds of screens showed the position of every alien ship in the galaxy. For 200 years, this room had existed in secret. For 200 years, humanity had pretended they were weak while building the most advanced military force the galaxy had ever seen. General, called Intelligence Chief Woo Seok Lim from his station, the Trinity fleets are moving. 12,000 ships heading for Earth. Another 8,000 moving toward our colonies. Hey, one nodded. The aliens were doing exactly what humanity had expected them to do. Any changes to their formation? None. They're using the same attack patterns they've used for the last 1,000 years. Our predictions were correct. On the largest screen, red dots showed the alien fleets moving through space like a slow river of death. Each dot represented a warship that could destroy cities. Together, they should have been enough to wipe out human civilization in a matter of hours. Should have been. Time to drop the act, Hay-One said quietly. Activate Protocol Storm. Across the solar system, things that had pretended to be something else began to change. The moon, which had always looked dead and empty, suddenly blazed with light as weapon. Batteries came online. The asteroid belt, where humans had supposedly been mining for metals, revealed itself as the largest shipyard in galactic history. Jupiter's research stations unfolded like metal flowers, showing their true nature as mobile battle platforms the size of small moons. Colonel Jinho Nam watched from the bridge of his ship as his Ghost Division prepared for battle. His ships looked like nothing special from the outside, just standard human transport vessels. But inside, they carried technology that bent the rules of space and time. Colonel, his communications officer said, the first alien fleet will reach Earth's outer system in 6 hours. Perfect, Jinho said. That gives us time to say hello properly. He activated his ship's quantum phase drive, and the Ghost Division vanished from normal space. They didn't travel faster than light. They simply stepped outside of reality and back in again, peering anywhere they wanted in the blink of an eye. The Trinity Alliance fleet was massive. 10,000 ships arranged in perfect formation. Their weapons charged and ready to destroy the human homeworld. Admiral Vex Call of the Hegemony stood on his command bridge and smiled. Soon, another young species would learn their place in the galaxy. Sir, his sensor officer said, I'm detecting some unusual readings near the asteroid belt. Unusual how? It looks like ... construction. Massive construction. But that's impossible. Our scouts reported only small mining operations in that area. Admiral Vex Call's smile faded. Show me. The main screen displayed the asteroid belt. But something was wrong. Instead of scattered rocks, there were structures. Huge structures. Shipyards that stretched for thousands of miles. Construction platforms that dwarfed anything in the Trinity Alliance. And ships. So many ships that they blocked out the stars. How is this possible? Vex Call whispered. Our intelligence said the humans had no real military. His answer came, in the form of weapons fire that lit up space like a new sun. The asteroid belt revealed itself as humanity's greatest secret, a fortress that had been disguised as empty space for 2 centuries. Beam weapons that could cut through any known. Armor struck the alien fleet from every direction. But that wasn't the strangest part. Sir, the sensor officer screamed. Ships are appearing inside our formation. Colonel Jinho's Ghost Division materialized in the middle of the Trinity fleet like demons from another dimension. His ships didn't look threatening, but when they fired their weapons, alien vessels simply stopped existing. Not destroyed, erased, as if they had never been built at all. What kind of weapons are those? Admiral Vexcall demanded. Engineer Eugene Kong could have answered that question, but she was busy on the other side of the solar system. Her laboratory on Mars had spent decades developing weapons that didn't just break things. They unraveled the basic structure of matter itself. Target the command ships first, she told her weapon operators. Let's give them something to think about. A beam of impossible energy reached across space and touched Admiral Vexcall's flagship, the massive vessel built to withstand the firepower of entire fleets, came apart like it was made of sand. Not exploded, dissolved. Its atoms forgot how to hold together. In the space of 30 minutes, 10,000 alien ships became empty space and scattered particles. Not one human vessel was even scratched. But the real shock came when the aliens tried to call for help. Intelligence Chief Wu Seok Lim had spent his entire career building a network of human agents throughout alien space. When the galaxy looked at humans and saw primitive newcomers, they never noticed that some of those newcomers had been asking very good questions for a very long time. Every alien military base found its communication systems mysteriously failing. Every government building discovered that their most trusted advisors were asking uncomfortable questions about defense plans. Every secret research facility learned that their security had been compromised years ago. Sir, an aide reported to Overlord Kethmer on his homeworld. We've lost contact with the Earth assault fleet. Lost contact? What do you mean, lost contact? Their last transmission was? Strange. The fleet commander reported that human ships were appearing from nowhere and using impossible weapons. Then the signal cut off. Kethmer activated his personal communicator to contact the fleet directly. He got only silence. Not even static, just empty space where 10,000 ships should have been. Send another fleet, he ordered. Double the size. Sir, our shipyards report that their construction schedules have been sabotaged. Also, many of our key personnel have disappeared. What? The aide looked nervous. It appears that humans have been working in our facilities for decades. Not as prisoners or slaves, but as odd employees. They've been studying our technology and mapping our defenses. Kethmer felt something he hadn't experienced in centuries. Fear. On Earth, General Hay-1 received reports from across the galaxy. Human sleeper agents were activating everywhere. Military installations that had relied on human guest workers found their systems turning against them. Research facilities discovered that their helpful human assistants had been copying everything. Ma'am, Intelligence Chief Lim reported, Operation Silent Garden is complete. We have detailed intelligence on every major alien military asset in the galaxy. Their troop movements, weapon capabilities, command structures, everything. And their response? Panic. The Trinity Alliance is calling emergency sessions. Minor. Species are declaring neutrality. Some are even offering to switch sides. Hay-1 allowed herself a small smile. For 200 years, humanity had played the role of grateful students. They had accepted scraps from the alien table and said thank you. They had built their colonies in the systems nobody else wanted, and acted happy about it. But all that time, they had been learning, watching, planning. Open a channel to the entire galaxy, she ordered. Every communication device on every world received the same message. It came in hundreds of languages, but the words were simple. People of the galaxy, this is Earth. For 200 years, we chose diplomacy. For 200 years, we chose patience. For 200 years, we chose peace. You have made it clear that these choices were mistakes. The message paused, and across 1,000 worlds, alien leaders held their breath. We gave you every chance to treat us as equals. We asked for nothing but fair consideration. Instead, you decided we should be your slaves. Another pause. On his homeworld, Overlord Kethmer felt his 4 hearts beating faster than they ever had. This is humanity's final warning. Any fleet that approaches human space will be destroyed. Any world that attacks human colonies will face consequences you cannot imagine. Any government that continues to treat humans as property will discover what happens when you mistake patience for weakness. The transmission ended with coordinates, the location of the destroyed Trinity fleet. When alien scouts finally reached the area, they found nothing but empty space and a cloud of particles that had once been the most powerful military force in the galaxy. No wreckage, no survivors. Just dust floating in the dark. And somewhere, in that darkness, human ships waited for the next fool to test their resolve. Fleet Admiral Tai Hyon Shin stood on the bridge of the Eternal Dawn, watching as reality itself bent around his ship. The vessel was so large that small moons could fit inside its cargo bays. Its hull was made from materials that existed in 7 dimensions at once. When it moved through space, stars seemed to step aside to let it pass. Admiral, his tactical officer reported, long-range sensors show the Trinity Alliance has mobilized everything. 5 million ships are heading toward human space from every direction. Tai Hyon nodded calmly. The aliens had finally realized that humanity was a real threat. Too late, but at least they were learning. How long until they reach our outer territories? At their current speed, 6 days? Good. That gives us time to prepare a proper welcome. Around the Eternal Dawn, space shimmered as more human ships appeared. Not the small vessels the galaxy was used to seeing, but massive constructs that dwarfed anything ever built. Ships that looked like floating cities. Ships that generated their own gravity wells. Ships that could create and destroy matter with a thought. For 2 centuries, humanity had let the galaxy believe their territory was small. 43 worlds, they had said. A few mining colonies and research stations. Nothing important. The truth was very different. Tactical, show me the real map, Tai Hyon ordered. A holographic display filled with light. Human presence didn't just extend to 43 worlds. It reached into every corner of the galaxy. Hidden bases and empty systems. Pocket dimensions. Carved out of space itself. Entire star clusters that had been moved to locations where no one would think to look. Sir, the communications officer said, we're receiving surrender requests from over 300 alien governments. They're offering to switch sides before the fighting starts. Tell them we'll consider their requests after we finish with the Trinity Alliance, Tai Hyon replied. First things first. On the bridge of the Trinity flagship, Dominion's Wrath, Commander Vex High stared at the tactical display with growing horror. Her crystal body flickered with nervous energy as more human ships appeared on the sensors. How many ships do they have? She asked her tactical officer. We can't get an accurate count, Commander. They keep appearing in new locations. Our best estimate is somewhere between 50,000 and 50 million. That's impossible. No species has that many ships. Commander, I think we need to consider that everything we knew about humans was wrong. Vex High wanted to argue, but the evidence was right there on the screen. Human vessels were appearing throughout the galaxy like stars turning on for the first time. Each one was larger and more advanced than anything in the Trinity fleet. Send a message to the human fleet, she ordered. Tell them we want to negotiate. The response came back immediately. Negotiation time ended 72 hours ago. Dr. Kyung-Ho Park worked in his laboratory aboard the research vessel New Horizon, putting the finishing touches on humanity's most terrible weapon. It wasn't a bomb or a beam cannon. It was something far worse. Doctor, his assistant asked, are you sure this will work? I'm sure, Kyung-Ho replied. checking his calculations one more time. "We're not just changing the laws of physics in local space. We're rewriting them completely." He activated the device, and reality hiccuped. In a sphere of space 1 light-year across, the fundamental forces that held matter together simply changed. Gravity became repulsive. Electromagnetic force started. Working backwards, nuclear binding energy turned negative. Every Trinity Alliance ship in that region fell apart instantly. Not destroyed by weapons, but unmade by the universe itself, forgetting how they were supposed to exist. "My God," his assistant whispered. "No," Kyung-ho said quietly. "Just humanity unleashed." Major Sun Mi-ru led the first human ground assault on a Trinity homeworld. Her soldiers weren't quite human anymore. They had been improved in every way that mattered. They could survive in the vacuum of space, lift vehicles with their bare hands, and process information faster than most computers. Alien defenders had prepared for a normal invasion. They had built walls, set up energy shields, and positioned their most powerful weapons to repel human forces. None of it mattered. Sun Mi's soldiers didn't fight around the defenses. They simply walked through them. Energy barriers designed to stop any known weapon couldn't even slow down a human who had been rebuilt at the molecular level. Walls made from the strongest materials crumbled when touched by soldiers whose bodies were partly made of collapsed matter. "Resistance is useless," Sun Mi announced to the alien commanders through their own communication systems. "Surrender now, and your people will be treated well. Continue fighting, and will be forced to take more direct action." The alien general in charge of the planet's defenses made the mistake of firing the world's main defense cannon at her. The beam, powerful enough to destroy a fleet, struck Sun Mi directly. She absorbed the energy and used it to power her suit's systems. "Thank you," she said pleasantly. "I was running a bit low on power." The alien general surrendered immediately. Tactical. Coordinator the Jin watched the battle from her command center on Earth, directing human forces across 1,000 different fronts simultaneously. Her mind had been enhanced with quantum processors that let her think in multiple timelines at once. "Ma'am," one of her aides reported, "the Trinity Alliance is requesting a ceasefire. They're offering to recognize human equality in exchange for stopping our advance." The Jin didn't even look up from her displays. Too late for equality. "We tried that approach for 200 years. What should I tell them?" "Tell them that surrender is their only option. Complete surrender. No conditions. No negotiations, no deals." The aide looked uncomfortable. "Ma'am, they're saying they'd rather fight to the death than accept unconditional surrender." "And they'll die," the Jin said simply. "Next report." Across the galaxy, human forces demonstrated capabilities that defied everything the aliens thought. They knew about warfare. Human ships didn't just travel faster than light. They moved through dimensions that most species couldn't even perceive. Human weapons didn't just destroy targets. They edited them out of existence entirely. But the most terrifying thing wasn't the technology. It was the efficiency. Humans didn't waste time on dramatic speeches or cruel taunts. They didn't torture prisoners or destroy cities for fun. They simply gave each enemy exactly one chance to surrender. And if that chance was refused, they moved on to the next target. It was methodical, professional, terrifying in its complete lack of emotion. Prime. Architect Zulthan of the Collective tried one last desperate gambit. His species had built their civilization on logic and calculation. Surely these humans, advanced as they were, could be reasoned with. "Human commanders," he transmitted to the approaching human fleet, "we propose a logical solution. The galaxy is large enough for both our species to coexist. We can divide it equally." The response came from Fleet Admiral Tae-Hyan himself. The galaxy was always large enough for coexistence. We offered to share it peacefully for 2 centuries. You chose to make us slaves instead. We can change. We can offer you equal status. We don't want equal status anymore. We want control. Zulthan's mechanical brain processed this information and reached a disturbing conclusion. You're not just conquering us. You're replacing us. No, came the reply. We're improving you. Those who can adapt to human leadership will be allowed to thrive. Those who cannot will be ... retired. As if to demonstrate the point, 3 Trinity homeworlds simply vanished from the star charts. Not destroyed, relocated. Moved to the edge of intergalactic space, where they could think about their mistakes in isolation. The remaining Trinity forces began surrendering en masse. Not because they were cowards, but because they were finally smart enough to recognize when they were completely outmatched on Earth. General Hay 1 received the final reports. Ma'am, organized resistance has ended. The Trinity Alliance formally surrenders. The galactic government is requesting instructions on how to proceed. Tell them to wait, Hay 1 replied. We'll send new instructions once we decide what kind of galaxy we want to build. She looked out at the stars and smiled. For 200 years, humanity had been patient. They had accepted insults, taken orders, and pretended to be weak. The galaxy would learn what human strength really looked like, and it would learn to be grateful for human mercy. Emperor Jin-Su Han stood on the balcony of his palace on New Geneva, looking out at the city that had grown around Earth's new capital. 6 months had passed since the Trinity Alliance surrendered, and the galaxy was learning to live under human rule. The city below sparkled with both human and alien architecture, but there was no question about who was in charge. Your Majesty, Grand Marshal B.O. Young Kim said as she entered the throne room behind him, the weekly reports are ready for your review. Jin-Su turned from the window. 3 months ago, he had been a simple professor of history on Earth. Galactic Council had chosen him to lead not because he wanted power, but because he understood how civilizations rose and fell. Now he wore the crown of the galaxy's first human emperor. How are our new subjects adapting? He asked. Bao Young activated a holographic display showing statistics from across the galaxy. Better than expected. Most alien governments have accepted the new order. There have been only 12 resistance movements this week, down from 47 last month. And how did we handle the resistance? Standard protocol. We relocated the troublemakers to isolated systems where they can think about their choices. No deaths, no destruction. Just ... Time to reconsider. Jin-Su nodded. That was the human way. They didn't rule through fear or cruelty. They ruled through overwhelming capability and patient firmness. Aliens who accepted human leadership found their lives improved in every way. Those who refused found themselves somewhere very far away. From everyone else. Chancellor Min-Ji Lee entered the room carrying a stack of data tablets. As head of the new galactic government, she dealt with the practical problems of running a civilization that spanned millions of worlds. Your Majesty, she said with a slight bow, we have requests from 600 more alien governments asking to join the Voluntary Cooperation Program. The Voluntary Cooperation Program was humanity's answer to the question of what to do with a conquered galaxy. Rather than enslaving or destroying alien civilizations, humans offered them a choice. Accept human guidance and enjoy the benefits of advanced technology, medicine, and protection, or maintain independence in carefully monitored reservations. Where they could live as they always had, most chose cooperation. What kind of benefits are they requesting? Jin-Su asked. The usual, Min-Ji replied, checking her notes. Medical technology to extend their lifespans. Agricultural improvements to end hunger on their worlds. Transportation systems to connect their colonies. educational programs to help their children understand the new reality. And in exchange, they provide resources, follow human laws, and accept human administrators to oversee major decisions. Standard terms. Director Sung-woo Choi appeared on the main screen via holographic projection. He was aboard a ship near the former Trinity homeworld, overseeing the assimilation protocol, humanity's most controversial program. Your Majesty, Sung-woo said, I have an update on the enhancement candidates. The assimilation protocol was simple in concept, but complex in execution. Aliens who proved their loyalty to human leadership could volunteer for biological and technological enhancement. They would become stronger, smarter, and longer-lived. In exchange, they would become something that was no longer quite their original species. How many volunteers this month? Jin-Soo asked. Over 10,000, mostly from species that served in the Trinity military. They understand the value of power, and they want to be on the winning side. Any problems with the process? Minor adjustment. Issues. Some volunteers have trouble adapting to their enhanced cognitive abilities. But overall, the success rate is 97%. Emperor Jin-Soo reviewed the files of recent enhancement candidates. Former Trinity commanders who now served as human administrators. Alien scientists who had gained access to human research methods. Even some political leaders who had traded their old species loyalty for a place in the new order. And the original Trinity leadership. Grand Marshal B.O. Young answered that question. Overlord Kethmer is now governor of the Hegemony Reconstruction Zone. He's actually quite effective at managing his former territory. Commander Vexhai oversees mineral extraction operations in the Crystal Belt systems. Prime Architect Zul Then runs our computational research division. They adapted quickly. They're survivors. Once they understood that fighting us was impossible, they focused on finding their place in the new system. Kethmer, in particular, has been very helpful in convincing other hegemony worlds to accept human leadership. Jin-Soo wasn't surprised. The former Trinity leaders had ruled through strength. When humanity proved to be stronger, they naturally accepted the new hierarchy. It was logical, efficient, and exactly what human planners had expected. What about the cultural preservation projects? He asked Chancellor Min-ji. Proceeding on. Schedule. We've established protection zones for over 3,000 alien cultures. Their traditional ways of life are maintained and studied. Their art, literature, and customs are being documented for future generations. But they have no political power. None. They live as they choose within their reservations, but they have no say in galactic affairs. Think of them as living museums. It sounded harsh, but it was actually kinder than what most conquering species had done throughout galactic history. Humans could have wiped out alien cultures entirely. Instead, they preserved them like endangered animals in a zoo. Director. SEU Eunji Woo's image flickered as he adjusted his communication equipment. Your Majesty, I should mention that we've detected some unusual activity in the outer spiral arms. Long-range sensors suggest there may be other civilizations beyond our current orders. Hostile? Unknown. But given our recent expansion, it's possible they see us as a threat. Grand Marshal B.O. Young stepped forward. Our deep space fleets are already investigating. If there are other powers out there, we'll know about them soon. Jin-Soo considered this information. Humanity had conquered the known galaxy in less than a year, but space was vast. There could be entire civilizations that had never made contact with the Trinity Alliance. Civilizations that might not be impressed by human power. Prepare contingency. Plans, he ordered. If we encounter serious resistance, I want options ready. Already in progress, Your Majesty. We're building new classes of ships designed for extragalactic warfare. Plus, our enhancement programs are producing soldiers capable of operating in environments we haven't encountered before. Chancellor Minji raised another concern. There's also the question of what to do about human colonies that don't want to be part of the new empire. Some of our outer settlements are requesting independence. This was a more delicate problem. Humans had fought for freedom from alien rule, but now some humans didn't want to be ruled by other humans either. It was ironic, but not unexpected. What? Are they offering in exchange for independence? Jinsu asked. Continued loyalty, resource sharing, and military support if needed. They just want to govern themselves locally. Grant their requests. We're not tyrants. Humans who want to live free should be allowed to do so, as long as they remember their obligations to the species. And if they refuse their obligations? Emperor Junsu smiled, and for a moment he looked very much like the history professor. He had once been. Then they'll learn the same lesson the Trinity Alliance learned. Human patience has limits, but human memory is eternal. Outside the palace windows, the lights of New Geneva twinkled in the darkness. Alien ships moved alongside, human vessels in perfect formation. The galaxy had learned to function under human rule, and most of its inhabitants were better off for it. But in the deep spaces between stars, sensors detected movement. Unknown ships, unknown technologies, unknown intentions. Humanity had conquered one galaxy. Soon they might need to conquer another. The thought didn't worry Emperor Jinsu. After all, they had practice now. Philosopher King Jae-min Song stood in the great observatory on Earth, watching the stars that now belonged to humanity. 50 years had passed since the Trinity Alliance surrendered. 50 years since humans stopped pretending to be weak and revealed their true nature to the galaxy. He was old now, but the enhancement treatments kept his mind sharp and his body strong. Around him, holographic displays showed the state of human civilization. Millions of worlds, trillions of beings, all living under the gentle but absolute rule of humanity. Your Majesty, Architect of Worlds Yoon Young Kwan said as she approached his viewing platform, the final phase of the Galactic Reconstruction Project is complete. Jae-min turned from the stars to look at the woman who had redesigned an entire galaxy. Yoon Young was younger than him, but she had spent her life building something that would last forever. The galaxy was no longer a collection of separate civilizations fighting for resources. It was a single, unified garden with Earth at its center. "Show me," he said. The holographic display expanded to show the entire galaxy. Lines of light connected every star system, representing the space-time bridges that allowed instant travel between any 2 points. No longer did ships need months or years to cross the void. Now, someone could step through a portal on Earth and emerge on a world 100,000 light years away. Travel time between any 2 inhabited systems is now less than 1 hour. Yoon Young reported. Trade has increased by 3,000%. Cultural exchange programs are operating on schedule. The farthest human colonies are as connected to Earth as our own moon. And the alien populations? Thriving. Average lifespan across all species has doubled since we introduced human medical technology. Hunger has been eliminated on 98% of inhabited worlds. Education programs have increased literacy rates to near universal levels. Jae-min nodded. This was what humanity had built with their victory. Not an empire of slaves, but a civilization of willing participants. Most aliens who lived under human rule had better lives than their ancestors could have imagined. Keeper of memory, So Young Yu entered the observatory carrying her ever-present data tablets. As guardian of the Great Archive, she maintained the complete record of every alien civilization as it had existed before human rule. History, culture, art, science, nothing was allowed to be forgotten. Your Majesty, So Young said with a respectful bow, the quarterly cultural review is ready. Any species in danger of losing their identity? two minor concerns. The Velthari of the Outer Rim are showing signs of over-assimilation. Their younger generation is becoming so integrated with human culture that they're losing their traditional customs. And the Zeftai crystal singers haven't performed their ancestral songs in 3 years. Recommendations? For the Velthari, I suggest establishing a cultural preservation mandate. Require their schools to teach traditional customs alongside human knowledge. For the Zeftai, we should offer incentives for public performances. Perhaps a festival celebrating their musical heritage. Jaemin approved both suggestions. Humanity ruled the galaxy, but they didn't want to erase what made each species unique. Diversity was strength, as long as it existed within human-designed boundaries. Bridge builder Dae Ho Kang peered on the main communication screen from his headquarters on New Harmony. His job was managing the enhanced beings aliens who had volunteered to be biologically and technologically upgraded to serve as intermediaries between pure humans and the general population. Your Majesty, Dae Ho said, I have a report on the integration programs. How are our enhanced friends adapting? Excellently. We now have over 2 million enhanced beings serving throughout the galaxy. Former enemies who chose loyalty over resistance. They've become some of our most effective administrators and peacekeepers. The enhanced beings were one of humanity's greatest successes. Rather than ruling through fear, humans offered their former enemies a chance to join the winning side. The process changed them, made them stronger, smarter, longer-lived, but it also made them genuinely loyal to human leadership. Any problems with divided loyalties? None. The enhancement process includes psychological adjustments that align their goals with human civilization's best interests. They're not slaves or robots. They genuinely believe that human rule is the best possible outcome for the galaxy. Because it is, Jaemin said simply. The conversation was interrupted by an urgent signal from the Deep Space Monitoring Division. Admiral Yeon-Soo Park appeared on the emergency channel, her expression serious. Your Majesty, she said, long-range sensors have detected massive energy signatures approaching from the void between galaxies. Something big is coming. Jaemin felt a familiar sensation, the same alert focus that had carried humanity through their conquest of the galaxy. Show me the data. The observatory filled with sensor readings that made no immediate sense. Massive objects moving faster than light, but not using any known method of travel. Energy signatures that suggested technology even more advanced than humanity's current capabilities. Estimated time of arrival? 6 months, assuming they maintain current speed and heading toward our galaxy. Fleet composition? Unknown. Whatever they're using for ships doesn't match any known design principles. But based on the energy readings, we're looking at something that could pose a real threat. For the first time in 50 years, humanity faced the possibility of meeting an equal opponent, or perhaps even a superior one. Your Majesty, Architect Yun-Yong said quietly, should we begin evacuation procedures for the outer systems? No, Jaemin replied without hesitation. We prepare for war. Within hours, the galaxy mobilized. Human fleets emerged from hidden bases that most aliens never knew existed. Weapons platforms that had been disguised as space stations revealed their true purpose. The garden of worlds that humanity had cultivated began preparing for the storm. But the most interesting response came from the alien populations. Instead of seeing the approaching threat as an opportunity for liberation, they rallied to humanity's defense. Former Trinity Alliance commanders volunteered to lead defensive fleets. Alien scientists offered their research to improve human weapons. Entire worlds requested permission to contribute resources to the war effort. Your Majesty, Bridge Builder Dae Ho reported, we're receiving over 10,000 requests per hour from aliens asking to join the Enhanced Being program. They want to be upgraded so they can fight more effectively for human civilization. Jae-min smiled. This was the proof of humanity's success. They hadn't conquered the galaxy through fear. They had earned its loyalty through competent leadership and genuine improvement of life for everyone. 3 months later, the alien observers finally identified the approaching threat. An extragalactic empire that had conquered 7 galaxies and enslaved trillions of beings. They came not as explorers or traders, but as conquerors who took what they wanted and destroyed what they didn't need. Their leader, calling himself the Eternal Dominator, sent a single message to the galaxy. Primitive beings of this spiral, you will surrender all resources and submit to the will of the true empire. Resistance will result in the extermination of your species and the harvesting of your worlds. Philosopher King Jae-min Song composed humanity's response personally. It was broadcast on every frequency to every corner of both galaxies. Unknown entities. You see a galaxy under human rule and assume we are conquerors like yourselves. You are wrong. We are gardeners. We cultivated patience for centuries, then harvested strength when it was needed. Now we tend a garden of worlds, and we do not suffer those who would trample our work. The message continued. You have conquered 7 galaxies through fear and violence. We conquered one through patience and wisdom. You rule slaves who hate you. We lead citizens who chose us. You spread destruction wherever you go. We create something better. You may have more ships. You may have more weapons. But you face something you have never encountered before. A civilization that fights not just for survival, but for the right to continue building something beautiful. This is your only warning. Turn back now, or learn why this galaxy chose humanity as its gardener. The response from the Eternal Dominator was swift and predictable. His massive fleets accelerated toward human space, confident that another galaxy would soon bow before his power. He had no idea that every alien species in the galaxy was broadcasting the same message on the same frequency. For humanity. For the garden. For the future we built together. The storm was coming. But this time, humanity wouldn't face it alone. And in the deep spaces between galaxies, something ancient and terrible felt an unfamiliar emotion as it watched the readings. From its scouts, for the first time in 10,000 years of conquest, the Eternal Dominator wondered if perhaps this particular galaxy might be more trouble than it was worth.